Hey, Salvador Brigman here. Welcome back to the Crowdfunding Demystified YouTube channel. And today I'm talking about how to build a personal brand online. That is what I'm covering in today's video. How do you build a personal brand? And by personal brand, I mean that in your niche, your industry, people know who you are. They know the value that you provide. You're considered an expert. And also people have a sense of like your personality and who you are, even if they've never met you. I can't tell you the number of times I've gotten a call with someone, doing a coaching call. They're like, oh my God, Sal, like I feel like I know you. I've watched so much of your content. It's incredible. So I want to share with you kind of the formula that I use in order to build a personal brand. It doesn't have to be necessarily like a huge celebrity brand, but just in general, in your industry, you can stand out head and shoulders above other people. The first part of building a personal brand comes down to content. Content is king, and here is why. You need to be putting out content regularly so that people get a sense of who you are. People know the value that you can provide to them. What can you do for them? What problems can you solve in their life? And why are you an expert? That is the beginning of building credibility for yourself when it comes to your personal brand. There are a lot of ways you can put out content. Like you can do blog posts, YouTube videos, all these different things. I think the easiest and the best way that I have discovered has been starting a podcast. I started my podcast in 2015. It's done hundreds of thousands of downloads. We've had more than 200 guests that have come on the show. And the great thing about podcasting is it's almost like you're compressing so much of building a brand into, it's a lot shorter of time span, honestly. So like, for example, if someone is listening to my podcast, they're listening 40 minutes at a time to me talking and discussing a subject with a guest. By the end of that 40 minutes, not only do they know who I am way more, not only do they get a sense of like a little bit of my personality, but they also have a sense that I know what I am talking about. I'm asking the right questions, and I'm also, to a degree, a celebrity to them in that space. Being able to network with like high-level people running million-dollar crowdfunding campaigns, I have way more brand exposure in there. So for me, starting a podcast has been an incredible way to put out free content and education to help people and also to elevate my personal brand. Think about it. If someone is listening to you for 40 minutes at a time and they're doing this every single week, that's an incredible level of depth that you just don't get when someone skims a blog post or maybe jumps around a YouTube video or something like that. Podcasting is the most incredible way to build a personal brand. If you are a coach or you're looking to do consulting or in any kind of way, you maybe want to do freelancing or run an agency or be an author, podcasting is a great way to get started. And down below, I'm going to link to a free podcasting course I put together for you, which walks you through how I was able to have a voice transformation because I sounded really meek and quiet and like introverted and monotone when I was getting started with podcasting, how you can do this with a really low budget but quality microphone. How do you even get started when it comes to hosting this and putting this up there on SoundCloud or on Spotify or on iTunes or whatever. I walk you through that in a step-by-step free podcasting course, which I will include a link to down below. Whatever medium you choose with putting out content, we talked about the value of that. The next thing is, after putting out content, you need repeated exposure to you, repeated exposure. We'll have a box here. You also need to have some kind of like engagement, basically, and some people that are listening, and I would say even just attention. So this is all about attention. You want long attention span if possible. Now the way we'll talk a little bit about this. So first of all, repeated exposure. In order for you to build a relationship of any form, people have to be interfacing with you regularly. If they're only seeing you once a year, you're not going to build a relationship over time. If they're seeing you every couple of days or every week, you begin to build a relationship with that person and they get a sense of, oh, so whenever Sal comes in my life, he's going to be talking about crowdfunding, or he is my go-to person when it comes to X, Y, and Z, fitness training or spirituality or whatever. The repeated exposure is what causes people to begin to associate certain things with your brand, and it also warms them up even more to you and what it is that you're doing online. In addition, having a long attention span or engagement is critical to building a relationship. And think about it this way. If you go on a trip with someone around the world, you're gonna have a way closer relationship with them than someone that you just met for 15 minutes or something like that after work for a beer or whatever. The more time that you spend with someone and the more that someone pays attention to you, the more that they're going to become a fan of your work. So you gotta actually use this content to continue to put out more and more videos or more podcasts or whatever. So you have repeated exposure, and in addition, you want people listening towards the end of that podcast. That's why I recommend podcasting, because people can listen for 40 minutes. The more time you spend with them, the more they're going to feel a certain way towards you, and you're no longer a scary marketer or some random other person out there online. You're actually an individual in their eyes. So you want repeat exposure, and you also want long attention span. After you sort of get that box check marked when it comes to building your personal brand, we'll put this here, personal brand. The next, I rarely see people actually engaging in. So you might have someone who has putting out content, they have some repeated exposure, but they don't have a business yet. They don't have a business surrounding their personal brand. And that's because what they need is they need investment. Now, I'm specifically referring to financial investment, but this could also be time-related investment. Time being people are spending an hour of their time with you, or they're watching your longer videos. The more investment that you can get on the part of your fans, at this point in time, they're considered your fan. They're watching your videos, they're commenting maybe, they're really getting a sense of who you are. They are your fan, quote unquote. When it comes to becoming a hardcore, a diehard fan, part of your tribe, really your inner circle, like your core membership, they gotta be taking investment in some way. And you want to think about it this way, like if you ever have gone to a concert, you go and you see some of these diehard fans of this singer or of this band, and they're going to every single concert, they're going every single year, they're going regularly, or a hardcore fan of an author, they're buying all of their books. I have all of like J.K. Rowling's initial Harry Potter series. When you are a hardcore fan, you're making financial investments in that person, and you're doing it repeatedly, and you're actually enthusiastic because you can't wait until the next book comes out. You can't wait until the next concert rolls around. The more you can get people to make some kind of investment in you, that's really when you begin to start building the real personal brand, because those people then, when they have a good experience, they then are going to want to tell their friends, which I'm going to get into in just a second, but also they realize that this is such a good experience, I want to do it again, and they know what to expect. So they're like, oh my God, this is incredible. This content is great. Oh wow, like all of his content is great. I'm expecting all this. They can make an investment like, this is incredible. This coaching session was great. Or wow, I love the book that he wrote, or whatever it is. They're making financial investment. The more they become a hardcore supporter or a fan, which then sort of brings us into the next phase. And this is where the real big personal brand comes from. And that is doing things like upsells, longer term work or coaching, and basically high-end, you'd think of it, high-end fans. So what's a high-end fan? Well, someone who goes to every concert of yours, if you're a musician, like they're obviously like a raving fan, but someone who's also doing the backstage passes, they're wanting to meet the actual band or the musician, or they're going to a private movie screening because they want to meet the actors, they're going to some gala or something like that, and they're spending a lot of money. They are a hardcore fan, like a super hardcore, diehard fan. Not only are they buying your books or booking you for a coaching session or whatever it is, they're investing in you in some way. They're also doing long-term coaching. They're doing upsells. Maybe they're investing in your freelancing service or whatever it is. The more you can move people towards the sort of high-ticket items, you can invest in larger ways. Of course, also delivering incredible value to them, and you continue to wow them also at this stage, that is when the entire cycle, if you will, begins to close, and it's like almost a full-fledged personal brand where people are discovering your content, those people are loving it. They also maybe see how some of these other two groups are commenting, and they're like, this is incredible, this guy is awesome, making them more interested in watching more of your videos. They're watching more, they get repeat exposure, they become more and more of a fan, they become more of a hardcore fan, then they become a diehard fan. And this is sort of the process, if you will, that goes behind building a personal brand. This all starts with putting out content. That is where this all begins. The easiest way, like I said, to get started with putting out podcast content, in my experience, is with podcasting, because with podcasting, you're sort of killing a lot of birds with one stone. Number one, it's super easy to do. You can do it anywhere. All you need is a microphone and a Skype connection or a Zoom call or whatever it is you want to do. You can do a podcast and you can be talking with someone, you can record that, and you can throw it up on iTunes, and someone else can listen to that and they can be informed and educated, and it's really an incredible, beautiful thing. So that's an incredible way to not only build content, but to also continue to get people have a long attention span when it comes to your work, because they're listening to the podcast for a long time. The more they see these podcasts, the more they realize what you're talking about. And finally, you can transition them into products and services and all these other things. This all for me, I think podcasting, blogging, YouTube, of all the things that I've tried, podcasting has been one of the most powerful. So I'm gonna link down below, like I said, to a free podcasting course if you are interested in moving forward with that particular content type, but no pressure. There are many other different content types out there. I hope you enjoyed this YouTube video. My name is Salvador Brigman. Give me a thumbs up if you did like it, and I will see you next time.